Today is Constitution Day. It commemorates the proclamation of the Constitution of the Republic of Korea on July 17th, 1948. Now, it does fall on the day of July 17th because it coincides with the founding of the Joseon Dynasty. Now, the Constitution is more than just a set of legal articles. It contains words like dignity, value, freedom, equality, and happiness. Now, these are not only political or institutional ideas. I believe they're deeply connected to each person's set of personal values. So today, what about reflecting on your personal constitution? What helps you stand strong? Hello, this is Culture Crunch's DJ Joel, and today on Creme de la Creme, we've invited a guest who has a very rare job that we rarely see in everyday life. But before we meet him, we are going to take a quick listen to a song. This is 비가 와, It's Raining by Link.
세상이 비추는 작은 빗물 속에 투명하고 맑게 맺혀있는 빗방울도 떨어지듯 이 기분에 나는 어디론가 떠나고 싶어 태양의 비가 언제나
If success is your goal, tune in to Creme de la Creme as we learn of all the top secrets from the top players in their respective fields. Now, today we are joined by Hunter Lee, who has served as an FBI diplomat for 15 years and is now exploring so many new paths in life. Welcome. It's so great to have you here with us today. First, briefly introduce yourself to our listeners. Look at the camera right there and just introduce yourself.
Hey, Joel. First of all, thanks for having me. Hello, I'm Hunter Lee. As Joel mentioned, I spent the past 15 years working as an intel analyst for the FBI, but also had the privilege to serve as a Navy officer, which gave me the chance to travel overseas and also serve as a diplomat, especially here in Korea. After my service, I thought it was time to start something new, and right now I'm following my passion for writing and storytelling.
All right. Now, I have a feeling that today's interview is going to be very, very interesting for a lot of our viewers and listeners. Now, just for some context, we actually know each other. We met on a different program last year.
Right.
So yeah, there we are here on the monitor, as you can see. But
it's been a while.
Yeah, it has been. But you've made some major changes, in the last year. A lot of things have changed, right?
Yeah, so again, most of my career has been as an intel analyst for national security, right?
Right.
So for me to only know that and starting something new here in a foreign country, well, it's my motherland, but it is foreign to me as I've spent all my life growing up in Virginia and California. I've started something as always had a passion for writing, and luckily I found some opportunities here in Korea where I teamed up with some writers who wrote some pretty popular drama series here in Korea. So I've teamed up with them, and right now I've been working on a small project where I tell my stories and also team up with professional writers to create something new here.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so I can see that you have a lot in your pot right now. But you did mention earlier, 15 years you worked as an intel analyst with the FBI. But after leaving, that particular job that you had worked on for so long, I'd imagine there was a sense of relief, I'm sure. But going down a new path as a freelancer, you are a freelancer now, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So working as a freelancer, I'd imagine that it's probably really exciting, but also in the same vein, a little bit stressful because you always got to stay on your toes. But you living here in Korea, when people did find out that you were working for such an interesting job, such as like a data or an analyst for the FBI, you probably got a lot of different questions, especially people that are not particularly familiar with all of the things that the FBI may do. But do you have any memorable questions or something that was maybe really funny or like a misunderstanding that was just really stuck out to you in your memory?
Well, back in the States, it really wasn't that uncommon, let's say, because living in the East Coast, a lot of folks do work for government agencies.
Over there in Virginia.
My neighbors are all also the government agency workers. However, in Korea, I'd say, well, first of all, people didn't really believe me. Not that I was out here trying to convince them to make them believe that I work for who I work for. But if I say oh, he's Hunter, he's a friend of mine, but he works for FBI here, and he's here for work assignment. And Korean people normally say, well, if he's worked for FBI, then I work for CIA or something like that, because they didn't believe me, right?
Right.
Why would a guy like that would be out here? And his name is Hunter. Oh, this guy is a total con artist or something like that. So it actually worked out for me. I say FBI, and they just brush it off. So it was pretty easy for me to just get by.
There you go. Well, I'll tell you what, though, when I first met you too, and I first introduced myself to you, and you're like, oh, I was like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I do this, work with the FBI. So I was like, you do? Even I was like, you do? And I'm from the States, so I was a little bit flabbergasted, I guess you could say, at that. But you mentioned your name, Hunter, and a lot of people, they might consider it something like you said, maybe like a con artist or something like that. Now, Hunter is your real legal name, correct?
I'd say that is another top questions that I get here in Korea. Is that your real name or your go by? I mean, I can't carry my passport all the time to show it to them, but yes, it is my official name.
Right.
Of course, I have a family name, what I go by at home as a Korean American, but officially, when I started my career, it's always been my nickname, but also stuck as my official name. So yes, to answer your question, it's on my passport. Any TSA officers or even Korean Customs, they will see me as Hunter Lee on my passport.
Right. I mean, when you look at it, from the perspective of maybe an American, it's a big culture difference because Hunter's not really that rare of a name, really. I
don't think it is. It's not common as David or Chris, let's say.
Right.
But however, come on, like Hunter, it's at least one Hunter in your life.
Oh yeah. Also, I've met many throughout my life, and I never really thought about the whole con artist type of. I think it's it might be like a cultural.
Because if you translate that in Korean, it's hunter, right?
Yeah.
It's like 사냥꾼.
사냥꾼,
So they're like, this guy, I don't know, can't trust this guy.
Well, bringing it back to, when you, for 15 years, were working for the FBI. Now, people have like this kind of image of what the FBI does. Like, they work in secret and they secret agents and all this sort of thing, rushing to crime scenes and these sort of things. But what are, you said you were a data analyst? So there's a variety of different things that a job like the FBI works for. So like, what type of work is data analyzation? Like, what was the thing that you did?
Well, so many people will see the tip of the spear, all the fancy, the high level, high paced stuff, which you see in movie, a lot of bangs, the booms, and jumping out of planes and stuff. Yeah, those are all still real too. But I'd say there are hundreds of men and women that work behind the scene to make that possible, to make that thing go solid. So I'm as an intel analyst. You analyze, you extract information from a bulk of data and try to pick out what's most important. So simply put, if you have massive data, my job would be to let's pick out the most important and let's connect them so that someone could actually make the decision and can make sense of all this. So kind of streamline the information processing for them.
Right. Well, and when you look at it that way, though, it is certainly a very important part of a whole grand picture of like a job that needs to be done. It's like you need to have some structure, and it's like the where you start at when you're doing a big mission or whatever. So but that's the thing is like I found it really fascinating when you told me because it happens to be a point that is similar with me, I would say, because my father did the same thing. So I was like, oh, okay, so we're going to get along just fine. Like, we can have a conversation about all of that. So, but is it kind of related? You said streamlining the process of being able to start a particular project or mission or whatever. Is it always crime related, or is it like just a variety of different things that you can focus on?
Well, it is a law enforcement agency.
That's true.
So heavily it is most projects are crime related, let's say, for the security.
Right.
But however, it's also finding trends, picking out, following trends, patterns to see so that you could mitigate future bad things from happening.
Right.
So again, a lot of even data analysts, information intelligence analysts, I'd say a lot of them play a critical role in, again, finding out information, providing information to the decision makers so that we can prevent bad things from happening.
There you go.
Yeah.
No one knows, but Hunter Lee has been keeping us safe.
I wouldn't go that far. I play a small role. I played a small role.
Behind the scenes,
It's been a good run.
Well, that being said, you said trends. You mentioned trends a lot. You mentioned, kind of, finding patterns. It's not something that I think I would be particularly good at. I think you got to be very smart to be picking out stuff like that. So hats off to you, I must say. But these days, I kind of wanted to get your take on something that's really just kind of cropped up relatively recently, and that's AI. And AI is something that is it's now being utilized by big government agencies, big companies, like everybody's kind of using AI now, But is that true? Do you think, in your personal opinion, that like AI is playing a big part in, the FBI or in other government agencies, especially in the field of something like intelligence work or research or anything like that?
Well, I absolutely do think that AI is a great tool for even an intelligence agency or a law enforcement agency can use to integrate and organize data sets. Again, you talked about trends and connecting dots. Well, there's a lot of dots that we have to work with. But if we have a great tool like AI who can computerize and just kind of make things easier for them to do, I absolutely do think that people, and even agencies, can utilize this tool the right way to get a better result. Now, I must say, though, you have to use it carefully, though.
Of course.
Because obviously, if you work in a world in a very sensitive information, you can't be inputting sensitive info into that open platform.
Right.
So, yes, with caution, I'd say it's a great tool.
Right. So that's definitely the takeaway here regarding AI is that use it when appropriate and carefully, because we are in the future, and you got to really watch your back with the new emerging technologies. And we've spent a chunk of time talking about your career in the FBI, 15 years, but you didn't initially plan this career path. It was sort of happened by chance or started by chance.
Yes,
is that
well,
true?
I definitely did not plan it, or I definitely did not dream of working for this organization. No, actually, I followed a friend to a job fair. A college friend of mine, a good friend of mine, needed a ride. So I drove him there because I just wanted free lunch. They were giving out free lunch or something like that, if I remember correctly. But a gentleman approached me in the bathroom, asked me about what I was majoring at that time, if I speak another language. Obviously, I'm in the bathroom, so obviously this is a very awkward place to have a conversation.
Of course, yeah.
But the gentleman turned out to be a recruiter who was at that job fair. That job fair was hosted by, sponsored by, CIA or FBI back then. It was in Virginia. So yeah, that's kind of how it all started. He's like, hey, why don't you give me your name, put a resume, and then maybe we'll be in touch.
Right.
I didn't think much of it. I mean, I did have a resume with me since I'm going to a job fair. So that's kind of how it started. I gave him my name, and then a couple of weeks later, somebody called me, and I just didn't really believe it.
Right.
I want you to come down for a test.
All I wanted was lunch.
I want you to come down for a test, but I didn't believe it at all. I didn't even know what I gave him. But it is a very cool name agency.
Oh yeah.
I thought it would be a great story to tell down in my career later on. So I was like, what the heck? Let's give it a try anyway. So I went down and took a test.
Listen, that's cool. Hi, Hunter Lee, FBI. Yeah. So you kind of made it work for you though, because you didn't initially plan this, but it sort of turned into a career move, which later went on to moving on into different aspects of training, and that sort of thing. And it wasn't, I'd imagine for you even, something like you would imagine in the movies. It didn't actually end up turning that way. Because I'm sure you had a perception of what this sort of job would entail when you started, but it probably didn't end up that way,
I'd say just like anybody else, I did a basic Google search. It's what is this role? So when they say, hey, you'll be interviewing for a position called intelligence analyst. One, what does that mean? And so I had no idea what that job is about. So after some Google search, and I took a test for it. And as you mentioned, yes, I think I made it kind of work for me. It suited me very well.
Right.
The world of information for me to just kind of review, read, analyze, and finding trends. I particularly found excitement in it. I know it sounds very dull and dry. It's like, who wants to read all that? But for me, it worked. So I kind of owned up and made it work for me, and I was able to have a really good career, a good run. I learned a lot, kind of developed myself. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity. It's been a good run.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, but looking at it, you weren't specifically only working with the FBI, though. You're a man of many jobs, I think, because while you were working at the FBI, you were also serving with the U.S. Navy as well.
Yes.
Now, working with the Navy, that's certainly not an easy jump to make. But what led you to actually join the military, though? Because this is a very big decision,
Wow, it's been a while. So that was actually on the Carl Vinson. Yeah, that's on the Vinson on that one.
It's an aircraft carrier, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. They visited Busan, so I was in Busan that day.
Okay.
I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity that was given to me, living in the States and also working for a great organization like that, and also opened so many doors where I met great people from all walks of life. So as a way for me to, what can I do to repay or give back? And it's not like I'm a government employee, I can't give money back. But what can I do to show my appreciation? And serving in the military was my answer.
Right.
I was like, hey, if I am able to serve, I would like to take my time and give my time to the service.
Right.
So a Navy Navy Reserve at that time was recruiting intel officer back then.
Oh, okay. So you were kind of doing similar work.
I was like,
there
hey,
too.
I'm already doing this job.
Yeah, there you go.
So hey, it's not a foreign area, so let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
So I put my package together to a recruiter, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so working 2 jobs at once. I mean, every time we have like a veteran or an active duty person come on here, I always say thank you for your service, first and foremost. Kind of a thing that I grew up having to say a lot. So, but when you were in the Navy, you worked similar job to, intel analysis or, somewhat sort of similar to the FBI situation. But as you can see here, you also have to maintain top physical shape, if you're in active duty or reserve or whatever.
Yeah.
We actually do have a comment on here by Leon who says he was on Physical 100 too, right? Can you ask about his experience on the show? So, your amazing physique that you had in the show, Physical 100 Season 2. Now, you built that in the Navy. I'm sure it started there because you got to do PT and all that stuff, however so often. These days, are you working out a lot? Like, do you still work out?
I think workout has always been just part of my life. It's just routine.
Okay.
And if you get up to drink water, it's kind of like that. I like to work out, and it's always part of my daily routine. So right now, I think I am still trying to keep up. But then again, age is catching up. So
who you telling?
I feel like I need to stretch more. Things are just, I'm putting more, a lot of like sprays just to get the cooling, the heating packs.
The joints.
So,
Get the joints.
it's not easy. But I am still trying. I'm like running. Recently, I just started running another 7 to 10K out in Gyeongbok Palace.
You know what? I saw that actually. Yeah.
So
you uploaded something about that.
I'm trying to keep a somewhat of a healthy lifestyle, and working out has always been my answer.
Right. I mean, I'm these days I've been trying to work out, stay in shape, stay healthy. I try to do 5 days a week, weightlifting and all that. Like, do you? It seems like you like cardio a lot because you said you ran 7K around Gyeongbokgung, right? I mean, do you tend to be a cardio kind of guy? What's your routine like? Do you have anything like that?
Well, when you reach my age, Joel, you have to work out consistently. However, cardio is just keeping it light. I'm definitely not a triathlon athlete, running marathon. I'm definitely not that level. Obviously, if you saw that season 2 of Physical 100, there are some amazing top physique people out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, the show was like super hot.
So definitely not me, but I've tried.
Right.
And right now I'm doing what I can to maintain a good, healthy life and good shape.
Yeah, so I mean, your participation on that show is certainly a big talking point. So we do have to talk a little bit more about Physical 100. And there was when you were on the show, though, you kind of created a big buzz thanks to, I guess you could say I guess you could call it wrestling, like a wrestling match with Shim Yuri, right, on the show.
Yeah.
It kind of made a big buzz, a big
brings back memories.
Reaction. So I mean, what was your reflections on being on this show and this particular match in general? Do you have anything that you really remember about it?
Well,
or that stuck out to you?
Well, first it was so surreal. I mean, I can't believe I'm in this, and I've never been inside of a cage before, an octagon.
Right.
And to go against a actual professional MMA fighter, it was definitely intimidating. I think looking back, if I did not match up against Yuri, I think there's probably a greater chance that I would have never made the show. Probably been edited out.
Right.
I think it's because I was able to go against such a high-profile MMA fighter like Yuri. I was able to get some recognition. More people saw it. Clearly, it wasn't the ideal position where I, got my butt handed to me.
Listen, I'm not faulting you because you know what? I will hands down the same thing would have happened as well. Well, this show though, like, did you end up applying for it, or did they contact you to be on it, or were you like, I could do this? Like, where's your mind at there?
I would have never voluntarily applied for this. I know this is the best when he goes there. No, I think because I had a unique title working in Korea, a Korean American diplomat. So someone took interest in me. Obviously, that person was working in this in the program.
Right.
And I reached out and sought my interest. Okay. I was initially interested, but I was like, you do know that I'm not a professional athlete. So I think after a few conversations, like, yeah, but we also have people that have a very unique job.
Right.
And that could kind of share with the crowd. So yeah, I was very fortunate and I was lucky to be invited to be on the show.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, you know what? I actually happen to know a few people that were on this show, and they said it was probably one of the hardest things they've ever done.
Oh, it was definitely painful.
But a good experience, though. You find your experience to be satisfactory. You ended up at 50th place, but I mean, still, it's a good experience, right? Are you happy with it?
Sure, I am very satisfied with 50. Okay, I am very, very satisfied with 50. It was the hardest run I have ever done in my life. Although you only see just minutes, but running on that non-electric treadmill, first time ever running in that, it is the hardest run that I have ever done in my life.
Ooh, sounds like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could. Oof, that sounds. Just hearing that is like stressing me out. Yeah. Okay. Well, no, you've obviously done a lot of things. You've had great experiences here in Korea as well as overseas. During your time with the FBI and the Navy as well, you were stationed in several different countries, though. You, as someone that's in the military or works at a government agency, you tend to move around a lot. That's how it works. But I'd imagine that each place you went to, you learned a lot, and you got to experience, and look at and see the working culture. Now, was there any particular place maybe where the working culture, or you had particular difficulties in adapting to, or anything like that? Did you had anything like that?
So I worked in Thailand as well. I've also worked in London.
Okay.
But if I were to rank a place that I had the most difficult time adjusting, I would pick Seoul.
Right.
Here in Korea. Ironically, as a Korean American, for me to say that, I'd say adjusting here in a professional working setting has not been so easy.
Right.
Because yes, I can speak the language. I'm learning as I go, but the culture itself, this is not something I'm not familiar with. Because again, yes, I may look like them. I am Korean. However, I don't know the culture here.
Right.
So adjusting here has been quite difficult.
No, I'd imagine so. Someone that has gone through the same thing, like I definitely sympathize and I understand that, But it seems like you're adapting very well. You're finding your footing here in Korea relatively well. And you tend, as obviously we met at a broadcast, but you tend to really enjoy doing broadcasting. You're doing this interview right now, and you're a total natural. So I get that. Do you plan on continuing on working in like the broadcasting medium? Like, is it something you've always wanted to do? I understand that you also have a YouTube channel as well. So you do lots of a variety of different things, and you mentioned, but is that something that you wanted to pursue in Korea? You just fell into it, kind of.
I think even when I was working as an analyst, I participated in a lot of a briefing, a presentation where I give lectures. For me, that kind of resonated where I felt very comfortable. Whether it could be in front of a camera or just in front of a large audience. I felt very comfortable speaking, but also engaging in conversation with a large group of people. As for in Korea, my new chapter here, there were definitely some opportunities that opened up where I could participate, contribute in a broadcasting and in programs. So I get the energy to just kind of share my stories. And of course, I'm more than happy to share so long as the platform is provided to me.
Right.
So these days in Korea, as I'm finding new and trying to acclimate and learn as I go, it's been a great learning experience, my time here.
Right. No, I mean, but also, you tend to cover lots of subjects there. It's not just basic conversation. You're covering subjects that are difficult to talk about, things like political issues and Korean relations with America, these sorts of things. It's not easy language, it's difficult. Do you not find it to be difficult sometimes? Do you really have to do your research and study hard to be able to hold these deep intellectual conversations?
Well, I think topics itself, they can be very complicated or difficult to understand. But however, everyone, I could read, I could write, and I could have at least ability to comprehend at a basic level, at a minimum. But the purpose of, you mentioned the YouTube channel, for example, which is a hobby of mine, is I've always had an interest to gather information and kind of condense it and make it short and sweet so that the outside audience can understand it better.
Right.
It's easy for them to understand. There's something I learned in the Navy when you brief a senior officer or make the briefing an executive,
Right.
You want to make it really condensed and concise,
Right.
right? They don't need to know all the research that you've gone through.
Of course. Well, we're going to get way into your YouTube channel here in a bit, but it's almost time for you to draw your life graph so we can kind of find out a little bit about what's going on in your life, how it's very unique. It's got peaks, I'm sure, all over. So we're going to take a song break while Hunter draws his life graph. We're having a fascinating interview right now, but we're going to take a listen to a song. This is Youth by Lino of Stray Kids, and we'll be right back.
가득해 in my brain 상상 아님 꿈 같은 거 Time to get this party started now Oh wait 세상에 힘껏 두 발끝을 내디딘 다음 나나나나나 Right now 나나나나나 상관하는 누구도 거침없이 너를 더 불어나고 널 막아설 그 무엇도 없어 이 순간 자유로운 널 느껴 alright It's time to bet on what you want 내 없는 것처럼 터뜨려 내 안에 dynamite Show me what you wanna do One more time countdown 3, 2, 1 매일 지금을 즐겨 가장 자유로운 이 순간 Say yeah 여긴 너와 나의 youth Left or right 어디든지 go 끌리는 대로 우린 flow 눈치 따위는 보지 말고 뛰어들어 모두 할 수 있어 You and I wow 막지 마 wow Feeling like a superman I'm like wow All night 나나나나나 All day 나나나나나 상관하는 누구도 거침없이 너를 더 불어나고 널 막아설 그 무엇도 없어 이 순간 자유로운 널 느껴 alright It's time to bet on what you want 내 없는 것처럼 터뜨려 내 안에 dynamite Show me what you wanna do One more time countdown 3, 2, 1 매일 지금을 즐겨 가장 자유로운 이 순간 Say yeah 어딘가 어설퍼도 돼 It's okay, it's okay yeah. 내 모습대로 가장 찬란한 이 순간 속에 뛰어들 We are the best 자신을 믿어 내 없는 것처럼 터뜨려 내 안에 dynamite Show me what you wanna do One more time countdown 3, 2, 1 매일 지금을 즐겨 가장 자유로운 이 순간 Say yeah 여긴 너와 나의 youth
All right, you guys are listening to and watching Culture Crunch here on Arirang Radio and TV. Now, today is Creme de la Creme. We are inviting Hunter Lee with us here in the studio, who has worked for the FBI for 15 years and is now exploring many, many different new avenues. Now, I did hear that you actually immigrated to the United States as a child. So when exactly did you move?
Middle of my first grade.
Oh, okay. So you're
yeah.
a baby.
초등학교 1학년, first grade.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
first grade. I moved to East Coast, and I just been there. East Coast has been my hometown. That's where I would say I grew up. Virginia.
Right.
I've been there all my childhood, and then moved to California after I started my career.
Well, I mean, I'd imagine, though, moving there at the first grade, I'd imagine it was probably pretty scary. I mean, do you remember your time, like how you felt when you moved? Were you like, oh, I don't want to go? Or, were you like, yes, an adventure?
No, I'd say it was definitely scary. Going to school, not knowing lick of English. I didn't even know the ABCs back then, I don't think. So not only I was trying to make friends with someone that I was not able to communicate with, but also, at that age, kids, they horseplay, they make fun of each other.
Of course.
So I was definitely a target of many people making fun of me. And I was also a big boy back then. So I definitely did not have any shortages of jokes coming my way.
I see. Well, kids can be real brutal sometimes.
Yes, I noticed.
But Yeah, so you probably had just started to like formally learn Korean when you left, and I'd imagine that you probably forgot a lot when you obviously moved to the States. You lived there basically your whole life, but when you come on Korean broadcasts, though, you speak very well. You're very eloquent, and we even have comments here saying that people love the way you talk. We have here Lily saying loves the way you talk, very straightforward and on point, saying that you could give classes on how to be a great speaker. We actually have a comment that says that.
Wow.
So, it's you have a way with words, I feel, and especially in Korean on broadcasts, you definitely seem like you know what you're talking about. Like you don't,
Well, I definitely study a lot. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it before before the show goes on. But however, I think a personal interest of mine has always been in literature.
Okay.
Reading, writing has always been a family interest. My understanding is even my grandfather used to work for a newspaper company. So it's always been kind of in the family where I've always been interested in sayings or idioms or any kind of literature. So as for Korean, yes, I learned it. I'm learning still. It's not easy, especially the show where the audience is typically in the upper age bracket where they talk about some more complex topics. But yes, I like to, whatever the topic that I'm given, I like to just condense it so that people that I can explain it to can have a better understanding at it. And that's the part that I focus on.
Okay.
Get that information and let's polish it so that a fifth grader can understand this topic. And that's essentially what it is, even in the military. You want to make your information easy to understand so that a fifth grade level can understand this topic.
Well, see, your training, the things that you learned while in your 15 years of working with the military, with the FBI, it certainly translated well into your work now that you're doing. That being said, you did say that you're studying Korean, a lot, very vigorously, you could say. But every Friday here on our show, Culture Crunch, we do have a segment where we learn Korean. So I'm wondering, from you, who is like studying hard to learn Korean and is doing well, you're doing it on broadcasts. Do you have any tips for people maybe that are trying to study Korean and want to grasp it just as well as you do?
Well, the official professional answer would be like, hey, study, open up books, audio tapes, yes, do all that, etc. But in the real life, even in the military or even in diplomatic settings, when I traveled around the world, the former colleagues and all diplomats would say, hey, if you want to learn that culture and learn that language, the fastest way is find a friend and start dating.
You know what? Hey.
They say if you start dating, that is the fastest way to learn the language and culture. So
hope all of our listeners and viewers found that. Yeah, you got to start dating someone that speaks Korean if you really want to get better at it fast. But yeah, of course, you moved to back to Korea after living in the States almost your entire teen and adult life. What did you find anything that had changed a lot, or changed, like, something that was unrecognizable, something that surprised you about how Korea had changed, or something about the culture that you were never exposed to before when you were living here?
I'd say the top thing that I was most surprised by is the level of convenience and service this country offers.
Right.
The technology. I feel like even though back in home we have Amazon Prime or the delivery service,
right,
it is far from meeting the quality of service here in Korea. I mean, sometimes I order things in the morning and magically appears in the afternoon. Yeah. I was so flabbergasted, and I couldn't believe how fast and convenient Korea is, and also very, very safe. I'd say yes, no country can ever be perfect, but in terms of crime, I'd say Korea is super safe.
It is.
I would, if I see people walking alone at night, especially female, that would kind of surprise me, because back in the States, especially when I was living in downtown LA, no, it's not a common scene, right?
Yeah.
But in Korea, everyone's just walking, even at nighttime. So I find that very, very surprising.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you. All those points, they're totally on track. And I think a lot of people, when they come to Korea, whether it be just to live or whether it be just for a vacation, they find that those points are pretty accurate representation of, Korea. But, when you lived in the States, once again, for a long time, and you might have forgotten a lot of, your Korean, identity in terms of food, culture, and stuff like that. But you coming back, do you like Korean food? Are you a Korean foodie?
that's probably one of my top reasons why I can never leave here because of food. I definitely enjoy my time eating Korean food and just exploring different places. I'm learning. I don't think I've tried 곱창 until I got here.
Oh, really?
The intestine. I haven't tried that one, but I'm learning. I haven't had the courage to try skates. I think it's 홍어.
홍어, yeah.
That one is that's a tough one. I don't think I'm gonna have to put that one in the bag for now.
It's a nice experience to try all these different foods. To be honest, foods like 홍어 or skate, and there's a variety of foods that tend to be a little bit stronger on the pungency level, or the taste is really, really, unique. Even Korean people find it difficult to eat things like 홍어 or, things that are very unique, very strong, I guess you could say. I've tried all of those things, and I can say that, just try. Everyone should try it once, I think.
Hey, kudos to you if you actually like 홍어. That's something that I think I have to take a back step at.
Well, maybe you do have a son.
Yes.
You do have a son, actually. So, your son is how old now? Like, what is he into? What do you guys do together here in Korea? Because, you guys live in Korea. It's going to be very different than your upbringing that you had in the States, things that you can do. So what do you guys do together? Do you guys...
Well, my son, he's 10.
Okay.
He is in 4th grade here in Korean school. Because he has learned so much Korean, living here, following his father,
right?
Which I'm very, very grateful for. The fact that he's able to learn, observe, and absorb all this Korean culture. You can't really get any of this in textbook.
Of course.
So I'm very, very grateful for that. However, I feel like this guy is forgetting English because he's not speaking much.
Right.
All of his friends are Korean.
It's the opposite of you, actually.
Yeah. So I was like, hey man, you need to keep up with your English. But I would speak to him in English because for me, English is more convenient. But he would always answer me in Korean. I was like, hey, wait a minute. Why are you always speaking in Korean? So to help to kind of maintain his English, I've been reading and doing words of the day with him. That's just been my go-to. I read with him a few pages, even a chapter here and there, and for him to actually understand and translate that into Korean. I find that to be very, very useful. This guy, the kids can absorb languages like sponge, so he's been actually doing very well learning English, and because he also likes YouTube for fun, likes to dance and stuff and sing. So I recently created some like Instagram page where I just read with my son.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Korean English and read with my son. And my neighbors, many moms are showing interest in like, hey, can you go over this topic so my son or my daughter could understand as well. So I just kind of started that a couple days ago, and it's been interesting.
I must say, you worked at the FBI, you worked in the Navy, you worked as a broadcaster, you do a physical 100. You might making your step into the education world as well, possibly. That's a good thing. And I brought up your son because that brings up the topic of identity, and it's not so much only your son, but you as well. You are technically an immigrant, so being in the States like that, and you mentioned that your son as well is kind of losing a lot of English, identity plays a big role in that. How do you find yourself dealing with the Korean and the American culture, the identity of who you are? Like, where do you put yourself on that scale?
That is a very good and very tough question to answer.
It really is, I know.
Because I have to be honest with myself. Sometimes I do take a moment to look at, hey, where am I or who am I? Yes, Korean American, that's on the paper. Korean American, Asian American, yes. I am Korean. I was born here, but I was raised 30 plus years in the States, right? So that's the life that I know. In America, US is my hometown. But then I come back here trying to reconnect with my root, so to speak. But I don't know if I'm supposed to bring the cultural knowledge that I know from the States and kind of use that as this is not the same here, or am I supposed to? No, you're supposed to just learn this new culture here. This is the way it's supposed to be. So I have a lot of expat friends that live here too, and when we get together, it's usually a lot of complaint sessions because they're like, oh, Korea is this, Korea is that. I'm like, hey, brothers and sisters, look, at the end of the day, we are here because we wanted to be here.
Right.
So I think you should do your best and trying to adjust. But it is tough. I mean, I do sympathize with
of course.
even like my fellow friends, expats. It's not easy. You say, oh, Korea, if you're Korean, you speak the Korean, it'd be okay. I don't think it is, because you could speak the language, but if you don't know the culture, if you can't adapt to the culture, I think you're still on the outside.
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I mean, I myself is someone that, came here and has lived here for a long time. So I can sympathize with everything that you just said. It's tough, especially when you're in a situation where you're ethnically one thing and, it's like a big complicated, situation. But that being said, I think that, your but you're grappling with identity as well as your fascinating history
Yes.
of jobs, that you've been doing, very unique, for sure. The first time we've ever had something like that on this show is going to reflect very uniquely on your life graph. So let's go ahead and take a look at your life graph. So we're starting at 1 here and we're ending at question mark, but take us through chronologically what's going on at these different peaks and dips. Like, explain that for us.
Sure. So I immigrated when I was 7, like first
okay.
grade, right? So I'd say that would be the starting point of hunterly in the States, right? New identity. And 24 is another mark where we talked about my career. I started working for the FBI at 24.
Okay, so that's where you started at the FBI then at
Yes.
24.
At that time, I was the youngest kid on the block, so to speak. But nowadays, the agency is always hiring, recruiting more younger applicants. So 24 is not that young. And 38, I mean, I go through all the development learning phase. 38 is where I became a diplomat. I've always had this passion of learning more about the diplomat, liaise with other countries' representatives to communicate and also to make good deals. That's something about that always appealed to me.
Right.
So I say, oh, the job like diplomat sounds so cool. Luckily, there was a position with that organization where you can serve a few years overseas as a diplomat.
Right.
And Korea, I could not have asked for a better place. So Korean assignment, it just felt right at home. And as you can see, the big dip at age 40.
Yeah, what happened there?
I'm not being dramatic here. This is actually the big dip because I went through such a huge career change without a definitive answer. Something that I just kind of fell into. I mean, I took a long shot at. So right now, I'd say I'm back in a developmental phase. I enjoy the process. I trust the process. It's been a great learning experience. However, it is scary. Someone asked me, hey, is it pretty scary down there? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I don't have the typical 9-to-5 security anymore. There is no security.
There isn't. It's as a freelancer,
Yeah, there is no security. And I've never been in this position where there's such, quote unquote, no security ever since, I don't know, I was just doing part-time job after college, looking for an actual career. So at my age, trying to rebuild and trying to do this again, it is absolutely scary, but I am very, very fortunate for the opportunity.
Well, like you mentioned like the lack of security though here, and you mentioned that it's going back up, and of course making the jump from something so secure as especially a government job, which is very secure, to something that is completely freelance. You don't have any backing behind you whatsoever. It's just all you, yourself, and you.
Me, myself, and I. That's
me,
what it
myself,
is.
and I. I'm trying to say it like that, but I would imagine that you find this to be particularly rewarding, this path in life that you have chosen to take, right?
Well, I would like to hope that I could enjoy the fruits of my labor down later on. That's obviously what my aim is. But yes, it is rewarding. The journey. The journey is there. You've seen so many success stories. You've heard many stories where some guy goes out like TED Talks and be like, hey, you gotta take a risk and this is all that. Yeah, it's easier said than done.
Right.
But to actually act on it, I was very scared.
Yeah.
To actually pull the trigger and saying, hey, goodbye, Uncle Sam. It's been a good run, sir. I'm gonna leave and try something here. It definitely wasn't easy, and it's still not easy.
Of course not.
But I've been very fortunate where I was able to connect with some people in this industry who has been serving as my mentor and so providing guidance. So, kind of connecting with good people Hence,
Right.
look at this. I'm in Culture Crunch today and connecting with you.
That's
so
right.
This has been a
life
very,
works
very
in
rewarding.
mysterious ways, you know.
Yes.
Lily here makes a good point, or Nyan actually says a good point here, is that people at the age of 40, they tend to look forward to, retiring. But you instead want to take a whole new journey, a whole new path at, this age. And it's something that is both rewarding while being challenging. But we can say that Benny here does say that he does love how your journey is unfolding and is looking forward to how it's going to go, evolve in the future as well.
That's another thing. I have a very, very small group of supporters, but they're still my supporters.
Right.
Even the commenters like that giving words of encouragement. I also have the energy to do it for them as well. Hey, I have people that I've never met, but
Right.
they're somewhere out there supporting me. They're
Right.
rooting for me. So that gives me the energy to get up and then push a little bit harder. I don't know them, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for the words of encouragement.
Yeah, no, the fans are definitely supporting you. It's been a very fascinating guest. But I do want to ask you a question. It's a very simple question, but it might be an answer that's really difficult, perhaps. But to you, what exactly is Korea? What is Korea to you at this point in your life?
Korea to me is, aside from being my motherland, it is me. I am Korean. We talked about this identity, not identity crisis, but identity, questioning my identity.
Right.
Meaning, yes, I was raised in the States. I live in the States. However, am I, what does it mean to be American, let's say?
Right.
And also, what does it mean to be Korean? Because I grew up in a school where I was the only Asian kid on the block.
Right,
So even that was a culture shock. So to me, Korea is the fact that I am Hunter Lee, Korean American. Can't just say I'm an American. I am a Korean.
Right.
So it is my actual brand, a title that I'm a member of a group.
Right. Well, you as I think that will reflect heavily in your writing. You did mention that you're into writing. What exactly are you writing these days? And I'm sure your identity plays into that as well.
I have obviously looking at my very dramatic curves here, just the life's curve. I've had a lot of opportunity to share many stories. Fortunately, I was able to team up with producers from a Korean drama who wrote in the Korean drama series, and they've expressed interest in me and asked me to come join their team and to work on a drama.
Okay.
Not appearing, but just as a writer. So I'm very fortunate that I was able to shed some light and contribute my background onto this project. So I am partnered up with a producers and a group of writers who are working on this international drama series.
Okay.
Hope to share more details when it comes to unfolds. But yes, I'm working on that.
We're certainly looking forward to that. We're already out of time. Time flew by, didn't it? I want to thank you so much for joining us today. We're definitely going to be looking forward to everything that you've got going on in the future. And I want to thank all of the viewers and listeners for joining us here on Culture Crunch. Today, we're going to be sending off Hunter Lee with a song until we see you guys tomorrow. This is 돌덩이 or Diamond by 하연우 of 국가스탄, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
살라는 말 가짜는 말 누굴 위한 삶인가 뜨겁게 쥐져봐 절대 꼼짝 않고 나는 버텨낼 테니까 거세게 때려봐 네 손만 다칠 테니까 나를 봐야야 끝없어 쓰러지고 떨어져도 다시 일어나 오늘뿐이야 난 말야 야야 똑똑히 봐 약일수록 깨질수록 더 세지고 강해지는 돌덩이 감당할 수 없게 벅찬 이 세상 유독 내게만 더 모진 이 세상 모두가 나를 돌아섰고 비웃었고 아픔이고 나였지 시들고 저무는 그런 세상이 취해 날 가두려 하지마. 들려도 괜찮아. 이 삶은 내가 사니까. 나